All right. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Islam Answers Back show. We're going to go ahead and give a few moments for any viewers to join in. Let me go ahead and send out a few tweets and things of that sort so we can get this thing going. So just bear with us a few moments while we get the audience tuned in. All right, so let's go ahead and send out a few tweets, let everybody know we are live. All right, let's give it a few moments so we can get it out there. Let everybody know that we are live right now. Live right now. All right. Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam. Connect 4. Welcome. Welcome. We're just going to give it a few moments. If you can, send out the word. Share that we're live right now. So if you could share that with others, let them know we're live. All right. We're just trying to put it out there. Let me see. I think how's the other way you do that too. I think you copy this and that's how you also tweet that you're live, right? I think that's how it's done. Got a good topic for you tonight. Tonight's topic deals with, we're not talking about politics or anything like that. Tonight we're dealing with a actual refutation, right? It's an old one, but it came up to me recently. I was on Pal Talk and I ran into somebody who who brought it up. So we're going to deal with it because it keeps coming up. Some of these old claims against Islam, they keep showing up every once in a while. So we're going to deal with that. So we just want to give everybody a few moments to join in. YouTube Isa, okay. Assalamu alaikum, YouTube Isa, welcome. Welcome to the room as well. Like I said, if you could share it, tweet it, let everybody know that we are live on the air right now. Let me see. I guess I could do a Facebook thing too, right? Let me send it out on Facebook. Let people on Facebook know that we are actually live on the air. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and put that out there. Got a third person watching. I can't see the names of who's in the room, but everybody's here. Welcome, welcome. Is there a way to see that? I don't know. It says we got 3 people watching, but okay, cool, great, excellent. Let's get some more though. Let's get some more viewers up in here. Remember, everyone, if you're gonna make a donation, please use the links in the description of the video. All right, please use that instead of the super chat. I mean, if you have no other option, the super chat is fine, but preferably if you could use the links in the description of the video. They'll take you to either donate through the website, the PayPal. You can become a Patreon, which allows you to make a monthly pledge. You could get the book, right? We got a number of options that you could help support our platform. You can get our DVB, Taqiyya, the lie they made against Islam. I got a number of options that you could help support our platform, and we are grateful for whichever one you choose. Like I said, if you're going to donate tonight or any day, even if you watch this video, for those who watch the video afterwards, if you would like to make a donation, please use the links in the description of the video. If you're watching live and you're going to make a donation tonight during the show, I would greatly appreciate if you could use the links in the description of the video rather than the super chat. As I've explained in previous shows, when you use the super chat, YouTube takes a portion of it. They get a percentage, and it takes about a month or so before the YouTuber actually gets to see it. So if you use the links in the description of the video, that would be preferable, where we can get it all, and YouTube doesn't take something from it, and it doesn't take a month or two to get it. All right. Have you seen the debate between David Wood and Muhammad? Yes, yeah, I have. I've seen part of it. But good debate. The brother seems like he did well. The audience response was good. Even the Christians. I mean, even the Christians felt that he did do well, in the sense that they felt that David Wood didn't do a good job. So that means the Muslim brother did a good job. Brother Muhammad did a good job. So that's good. That's very good. Welcome, Adam Gamer TV. All right, we got 6 people watching. That's good. That's good so far. Of course, we'd like to have more, but let's keep going. All right. So I guess we can. We'll go ahead. We'll get started. Okay. We'll go ahead and get started with this. Tonight's subject, as you see, is the claim: does Quran actually say that semen comes from the man's backbone and ribs? The truth will be exposed on this episode, right? Now, you may have heard this, right? If you run in the circles of, debates and online discussions or whatever, you may have heard this claim over the years, right? I've been involved in apologetics, debates, etc. You haven't heard this one. Okay, well, I've been involved in it for years, and this is one that's been made over the years. This is an old one. I call it old because this is an old one that they used to bring up in the early 2000s, claiming that the Quran had a scientific error or biological error in it, claiming that the semen of a man comes from the backbone and the ribs of a man. Now, the reason why they got that understanding is because unfortunately, there were some translations that translated chapter 86 of the Quran, right? Let's go to, let me see if I can pull that up for you. Chapter 86 of the Quran, verses, I believe it's 6 and 7. Right? Chapter 86 of the Quran, chapter 86, verse 6 and 7. Okay, right. Yeah. So, unfortunately, some translations did have it as backbone and rib. But the problem is that the English doesn't specify backbone and ribs, right? And we're going to get into this. I mean, the English doesn't specify like whose area. So most people took it that it was talking about the man, that it came from the between the backbone and ribs of a man. And many translations have that. Now I'm going to show you why a lot of translations have that. Now, more proper translations have it correct on what the actual, like for example, Muhammad Assad, his translation says issuing from between the loins, and he puts in brackets of a man, and the pelvic arch brackets of a woman. And that's more correct. Many of the old translations like Pickthall and Yusuf Ali, these translations were done like in the early 1900s. And so they say, Pickthall actually does say between the loins and the ribs. But again, the English is not clear. So Pickthall's, his says between, let me pull that up for you so you can see. So you can see that as well, so you can see why I'm talking about that. All right, let's see here. Let's see. So you can see why, what's going on here. Let's deal with that. Okay. Let's see, can I interact with this? It won't let me interact. Man. I can't interact with this thing. So, all right. Well, it won't allow me to interact. I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen. Yeah, you see it on the screen, but it's not showing me the part that I want you to see. Man, It won't let me get the part that I want you to see. Let me see. Try it again. All right, it won't let me do it. All right, it won't let me do it. But we'll get into that. We'll get out. So I'll just read it to you. Just follow along. Just follow along. All right. Welcome, Muhammad Zakaria, Muslim, proud to be 786. Welcome you all to the show. Invite other people. Let everybody know we're here. Let everybody know the show is going on. You join the discussion. We'd love to see the people joining. All right. So back to what I was saying. Right. Back to what I was saying. So, yeah, like I said, so some of you may have heard this claim, some of you may have not, some of you are saying that you haven't heard this. But yeah, this is an old claim, and it's an attack on the Quran, claiming that the Quran has a scientific error, and of course to those who attack Islam, saying this is a proof that the Quran is not from God, because God should know where the semen comes from. But as I said, which we're gonna get into, the translations led people to that misunderstanding, because it said between the back. A lot of translations say backbone and the ribs, but it doesn't specify, so most people assume that it was talking about the man. Most people assume that this was talking about the backbone and the ribs. Now when you read these verses in context, it's talking about the creation of man, right? So when you read the verse in context, it's talking about the creation of man. Chapter 86. Let's see, the context starts chapter 86, verse, where is that at? Chapter 86. Okay, yeah, so chapter 86, let's see. So let's start at the beginning of the chapter, verse 1. Chapter 86, starting at verse 1. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, by the heaven and the comer by night. And what will make you know what the comer by night is? The star of piercing brightness. There is not a soul, but over it is a keeper. So let man consider what he is created. He is created of a water or a fluid pouring forth, coming from between the loins and the ribs, right? So this is talking about, God's greatness and how man has created, how God had created, or the creation of man, humankind, right? So again, like I said, in the English, it's not clear. It just says the fluid that's coming forth from between the loins and the ribs, or the back and the ribs. Various translations use different words, right? Various translations use different words. So as I said, Muhammad Asad, which is a more recent translation, he has it correct. The loins of the man and the pelvic arch of the woman. Many other translations, the English is ambiguous. The loins and the ribs, backbone and the ribs, back and the ribs, backbone and the breastbone, loins and the breastbone. They're all saying a bunch of different things. Loins and the pelvic arch, emerging from the vicinity of the backbone and the ribs. It comes from between the spine and the testicles. Let's see. I'm going down a list of different translations. Between the loins and the breastbone, loins and ribs. So they all have this, but and you understand why I'm saying the English translation is ambiguous, right? You're going to see why in a moment. But as I said, this is where the misunderstanding came from, right? And this is why you hear many people always say, or many Muslims say who know better, that and this goes for any religious book actually, that when you want to understand the Quran properly and more in detail, you have to it's good to get some knowledge of the Arabic, right? And this goes for all. I'm not saying that and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it can't be understood in English or or any other language that it's translated in. But the people, when you seek in higher knowledge, it's important to look into the actual language of that scripture. Christian scholars do the same thing with the Bible. When you want to get a better understanding, they learn the Greek, they learn the Hebrew, and that's important because a lot of times the actual word is in detail, and it might give you certain specifics about the word and what's actually being spoken of, and this here is a perfect example of that. So as I said, when you read it in the English, it can lead to a misunderstanding. Is it saying that the fluid comes from the backbone and the ribs of a man, or what is it actually saying? So now you got a little hint of it from Muhammad Asad, right? Where he translated it as issuing from between the loins of the man and the pelvic arch of the woman. That is correct. Why did he do that? Well, because in the Arabic now, the Arabic does not allow for the ambiguity that you get with the English words, right? So in the Arabic, the words, let me go to my notes here so you can see. So you can see that on the screen. So now when you look in the Arabic, the words are more clear now, right? The word that is used for the male part is the sulb, right? Sulb. Okay, and the other word is taraib, right? The other word is taraib. So it says the sulb and the taraib, right? Bainil sulbi wal taraibi. Okay, between the sulb and taraib. Now that's the Arabic word. So what do these Arabic words mean in Arabic? Now what do they mean in Arabic? Well, as you see on the screen, I have a couple of sources, language sources, to help us clarify what's actually being said. Okay, so as you see, I have from the Concise Oxford English-Arabic dictionary, page 266. It says the loins is the region of sexual organs, the sulb. So sulb is loins, region of sexual organs, right? We have the English Arabic, the Hippocrene Arabic to English, English to Arabic dictionary, page 231. Once again, the sulb or sulb is the loins. Okay. Now, as you see here, that last part, here we have from the Oxford English Dictionary. Now, this is why you see the translators translated that Arabic word sulb, where, as you can see in Arabic, it refers to the man's sexual organs, the loins of the man, right? So now we see, but here this will show you why so many translators, especially in the old copies of the Quran, translations of the Quran, like Yusuf Ali, Pickthall, whatever. Why did they translate it as backbone and rib? You know why? Because they got that from the English. Because in English, here's the definition of the loins. Now, even in today, everybody understands when somebody says the loins, it's referring to the loins of the sexual organs, right? Your sexual reproductive system, the loins. You may see the expression, the loins of a man, or this is a child from my loins. Old English, that's how they used to talk, right? So as you see here from the Oxford English Dictionary, what do they say the definition of the loin? Look how they describe it. They say the loins, the part of the body on both sides of the spine between the lowest ribs and the hip bones. Loins, literally, the region of the sexual organs regarded as the source of erotic or procreative power. Now you see why so many translations translated it as between the backbone and the ribs, because obviously they wanted to bring that Arabic word. They knew in Arabic what it meant. It referred to the male organs, right? But when they were bringing it to English, they go to the English dictionary and find the word loins. But look what it says. It says the part of the body on both sides of the spine between the lowest ribs and the hip bones. So now you see why they translated it as backbone, right? As backbone. Because or between backbone and ribs, because the English dictionary had given them that definition, that this part of the body is between both sides of the spine between the lowest ribs and the hip bones. This is why they translated it like that. But again, the Arabic word is more concise and clear, referring to the loins of the man, right? And then the other word, Taraib, as you can see, I got some more language sources. For example, Edward Williams Lane's Arabic lexicon, page 301, says the Taraib, most authors affirm decidedly that it is peculiar to the woman. So that means this Taraib refers to the woman's body parts, or the woman, her body, right? This refers to her. Jalalayn, a tafsir, for those who may not be Muslim and not understand these terms, tafsir is a meaning interpretation. So you have what do you call interpreters of the Quran. Jalalayn, this is one of the interpreter, his name. He has a collection that where he goes through and interprets certain verses of the Quran. And on this particular verse, chapter 86, verse 7, this is what he says. He says that when it says in this verse is referring to, look, what he says, the sulb of the man and the taraib of the woman. So he's clear in the Arabic. He understands that this is referring to the body parts of the man and the body parts of the woman. Ibn Kathir, another tafsir collection, says the same thing. He said it emanates from the man and the woman, and with Allah's permission the child comes forth as a product of both. So what the verse is saying correctly is that it is a fluid that gushes forth from between the basically, if I were to translate it, make it real simple, basically issuing from between the sexual organs of the man and the sexual organs of the woman. That's basically what it's saying. In a PG way, right? In a PG way or a G-rated way, it's saying that the fluid comes forth between, and if you are an adult and you know about biology and you know if you have children and you know how children are conceived, this is a G-rated way of saying that this fluid, the human beings are created, right, by this process between the body part of the man and the body of the woman. Right? It's a G-rated, you get what I'm saying, right? If you're an adult and whether you have children or not, if you've taken biology and you know about reproduction, then you know what's being said here. And that's true. Is that not correct? But again, because the translators used the old English dictionaries, which itself described the loins as an area between the spine, ribs, and backbone area. This is why they translated at that. But as you see, the Arabic is more clear. The Arabic is talking about the loins of the man and the area of the woman, the taraib of the woman and the sulb of the man. Right? So there you have it. Okay, there you have it. Very clear. Right? It may have been refuted, but like I said, I was on Pal Talk the other day, and a person I debated, as a matter of fact, Matt Slick. If you go on my channel, you see I have some debates against him. So he came on Pal Talk, and he reintroduced this argument. We were in a room, and so he comes in on the attack, and he's all over the place. He comes in. He's all over the place. He's throwing out a bunch of attacks against Islam. So that's one of the things that he throws out. He throws out that, Quran is wrong. It says, and I was like, Matt Slick, don't you remember that I refuted you on this when I debated him? If you go back to my debate, go look on my channel. When I debated him a few years ago in Seattle, Washington, he brought this up. He brought this same argument up. And I reminded him, I said, Matt, do you not remember? Yeah, right, the Karm website, right. And I was like, don't you remember that when you brought this up in our debate in Seattle, that I refuted you on this? And I noticed that a lot of these anti-Islamists, they have this habit of repeating arguments that have been refuted. David Wood does it a lot. A lot of them, they seem to repeat arguments that they've heard, that they've been refuted. I'm like, why do you guys do that? I wonder, why do they do that? Are you hard-headed? Are you purposely? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with you? Why do you repeat these arguments that we answered before? So he came on, and I reminded him, and now he wants to debate me again. Everybody, by the way, I just responded to his email just a moment ago before I started the show. He wants to do a debate, but the interesting thing is that he wants to debate me on another subject. So I was like, wait a minute. When you came in the room on Power Talk, and I told you I refuted you, and you wanted to challenge me to a debate, this is Matt Slick. Matt Slick, the one who does the website that Ramon Salam mentioned, Karm, right? so he's like, he wanted to debate me because I was like, I already refuted you on that. So he was like, oh, he wants to debate me on that. So then when I get the email, now the email says he wants to debate on something else. So I'm like, well, what happened to the backbone and the rib thing? I thought that's what you wanted to, you wanted to get me on, right? I thought you wanted to do that again. So now he wants to debate another subject. So I'm like, whatever, fine. You want to debate another subject, we can do that. But I wanted to handle this this backbone and the rib claim that he wanted to bring. And again, like I said, go back to that video. Go back to my debate with Matt Slick, and you'll see it. And we dealt with that. I answered it. I refuted it. I brought all the evidence that I'm bringing to you right now. Matter of fact, these are some of the notes that I'm using right now that I mentioned in that debate. And I'm like, why are you mentioning it when you heard me refute you? And his argument is weak. His argument was, oh, I'm using a translation that is authorized by Saudi Arabia. Like, so what does that mean? What does that prove? Because Saudi Arabia, authorized the translation. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? It's the King Fahad. I'm like, again, so what? King Fahad is not a scholar of Islam. He just authorized that translation. So what? I'm like that doesn't prove anything. And then I said, plus, if you were honest, if you looked at the commentary would tell you what's being said. So this shows you that when they try to make these claims against Islam, they're not even doing honest research, right? Whether you like Muslims or like Islam or not, when you are researching your opponent, you're supposed to do honest research, right? You're supposed to do honest research. You don't do dishonest research because you don't like the people. That shows your bias. Then you can't be relied upon. So I'm like, if he would have done the honest research, he would have saw that it's understood that the Sulb and the Taraib is referring to the parts of the man and the woman. So in other words, this fluid gushes forth between the man and the woman, and that's correct. Is that not correct? Those of you who know biology, or if you have had children yourself, you know exactly what's being said here, right? You know what's being said here, and that's correct. It does gush forth from between the man and the woman. That's exactly how reproduction takes place. And again, it's a simple G-rated way of saying what takes place and how a child is brought, how a child is conceived, or how a child is created by Allah's permission, right? By Allah's permission, Allah made it where the man and the woman can come together in intercourse, and when the fluid gushes forth from between the man and the woman, if it's Allah's will, a child will be conceived. You see? A child will be conceived. Yeah, alhamdulillah, legend killer, welcome. Muhammad Zakaria, welcome. You know what I'm saying? So this is a tired argument. I've heard it over the years. We've dealt with it over the years. But all the evidence is in our favor. All they have to do is just do an honest research on the subject, and you will see that the Arabic is more concise. The Arabic is showing you that it's not saying that it's coming from the ribs, between the ribs, the backbone and the ribs of the man. It's actually saying that it's coming from between the loins of the man and the body parts of the woman. Sulb refers to the man, Taraib refers to the woman. See? So any honest researcher would find this out, and they would have no argument. But when you are blinded by your hatred, your dislike, or whatever you have against Islam, it won't allow you to do an honest research on the subject. And therefore, you come forward making these claims, right? And when you make these claims, you are going to get refuted by those of us who know the facts. So on the other side, I just look at it as I say, all praise is due to Allah, that Allah allowed Matt Slick to come blindly making this attack, and Allah gives me the chance to refute you very easily. Very easily. Right? Will you put this source in the description box? Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll put those sources in the description box as well for you. Yeah, no doubt. No problem. I'll do that for you. Very good. Yeah, because this is good information to have. Like I said, it doesn't come up too often, but every once in a while, this is one of those old claims against Islam. It comes up every once in a while. I hadn't heard it in a long time. Maybe the last time I heard it was when Matt Slick brought it up a few years ago when I debated him. So like I said, he came into the room on Pal Talk the other night. He brought it up. He just like the bro, like what's the name? What's your name here? He said they used the machine gun. They use what you said. They used the machine gun. Repeat. Yeah, right. They used this type of machine gun attack. So he came in the room and just started shooting off his attack. You know, he was all over the place. He was talking about that. He started. I forgot what other issues he brought up, but he was just like, oh, I'm like, man, can you stick to one subject at a time? You know what I mean? They like to do that. They like to come in and like just bombard you and bum rush you with all these what they call red herrings, throwing out all kind of attacks. So I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me focus on this one here because I remember that I refuted you on that before. You know what I mean? So then after I refuted him, he ignores that he got refuted, right? Because I gave what I'm doing right now. I gave him this same information the other night, and I said, you don't remember when I gave you this information? So then he jumps to another attack. He starts going off on some other attack about something else. And I'm like, you see, this is the sign that you don't have an argument. The fact that you jumping all over the place instead of maintaining the discussion that you started. He started it. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. You know? So this is what we have here. Oh, your name B Al. Okay, B Al Haq, yeah. Oh, Yusuf Chebi. Okay, I remember your other name, right? I remember you when you came. You used to have it when you had your name when I could see it. Yeah, Mo Shaf. Well, alaikum salam. Yeah, okay. I see you changed your name. Okay, but I remember you. I remember your name when you Yusuf Chebi. Yeah, welcome. So yeah. So as you can see the notes on the screen. If you want to take notes, I will put that in the description. But as you can see on the screen, you can take notes off of that and you can use it. But again, all the sources of language and everything shows that there's no problem. There's no scientific error here. The Quran is not saying that the semen comes from the man's backbone and ribs. So in this case, this is where the Arabic, having some knowledge of the Arabic comes in handy because the English, well, again, I mean, and that's the problem, unless the translator translated correctly. But it's clear that many of these translators, they were going off of the old English translations, right? Where it was ambiguous. It didn't specify. You know what I mean? It didn't specify. So that's why in this case, I would say that Muhammad Asad has the best translation concerning this, right? Concerning this, because in his translation, he specifies that it's the loins of the man and he said he puts pelvic arch of the woman. But, so that's more, that's accurate. That's an accurate translation, which will not leave any, any error or any misunderstanding. You know what I mean? So most of the translations, let me see, what other translation has it good? The Study Quran has loins and pelvic arch, but again, that's still like ambiguous. You know what I mean? They needed like Muhammad Asad, where he shows that one part is referring to the part of the man and the other part is referring to the part of the woman. So yeah, most of the translations they're too ambiguous. You know what I mean? They're too ambiguous. Yeah, most of them are too ambiguous. They don't carry that across good enough. So, I can see why that attack came about. But mashallah for the Arabic, you know what I mean? Mashallah that the Arabic is accurate and clear. You know what I mean? The Quran was revealed in Arabic. And so the Arabic is clear. The Arabic doesn't make that mistake. The Arabic, it doesn't make that mistake. So, now what's this? Did you? Oh, yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, I saw it. Some of it. I saw parts of it. I mean, what I did, I saw the whole thing. But what I like to do, because sometimes I just can't stand listening to the other side. So I'll hear a little bit of what David had to say, and then I just fast forward it to the brother Muhammad's part. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I just can't stand hearing them for 20 minutes and all the misinformation that they give. I just get tired of it. So I was like, man, let me just fast forward to the Muslim part. Let me see what he's saying in response. But yeah, it was definitely a good debate. You know what I mean? Yeah, you do that too? Yeah, I'll be like, man, I can't stomach no more of this. Let me just fast forward to the brother's part. So, but yeah, it was a good debate. Like I said, he got good reviews. He got very good reviews, and from both sides, in fact. Like I said, even from the Christian side. Although they didn't say he did good, but they said David did bad. So that's a sign that the brother did good, right? If they're saying that David did bad, then that's a sign that the Muslim brother did good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right, brothers and sisters. So So there you have it. So if this argument is brought up to you, please remember that the Arabic is clear, or refer them to Muhammad Assad's translation. Okay? But remember, whichever way you go, just remember that the Quran is not making a mistake here. The words, the Sulbi and the Taraib, refers to the parts of the man and the parts of the woman. There is no mistake. The Quran is not making a scientific error at this part. Okay? So just keep that in mind. All right? We got a little bit of extra time, so if anybody has any questions or comments to make, we can go ahead and do that. While you do that, let me remind everybody again that if you do want to donate to our cause, to our platform, please use the links in the description of the video, please. All right. Instead, I mean, like I said, if you have to use the super chat, fine. If you have to, but if not, we prefer if you use the links in the video, the links in the description of the video, through the PayPal, the Patreon. Those are more preferable. Or if you like, you could purchase our book. Here's our book, as you see on the screen. It's available on Amazon ebooks. You can get it through Kindle, or you can buy the actual paperback copy. Not expensive at all. $2.99 on Kindle, $5.99 if you get the paperback. He was never God. How Scripture shows Christ was a man rather than God. So you could support us through that. Also, you have our Patreon, right? You also have our Patreon as well. You can support us through Patreon. Patreon allows you to become what they call a patron, and this allows you to make a monthly pledge. So you can pledge to our platform on a monthly basis. Right now, as you see on the screen, we only have one patron, and may Allah reward that person. All right, we only got one. Inshallah, we get that to grow. Maybe tonight. So if anybody's interested, please click on the link in the description of the video. Go to Patreon and become a patron. Right now, I only got one patron who's pledging $9 a month. MashaAllah. And any little bit helps, right? Any little bit helps so we can continue to do this work, in defending Islam against these false claims and attacks. But any little bit helps. But yeah, so you can just go to that website right there, become a patron, make a pledge for whatever amount you want. $5, $10, $100, $50, $20, whatever you feel you can give, and this would be great to support. Now, what this Patreon site does is I haven't put anything up yet, but what I could do is that this basically allows you, for people who support your content or support your platform, you can make exclusive content for them. Now, I really like to really just share my what I do with everybody. You know what I mean? I like to keep it open for everybody. But but either way, it allows you to pledge to support our platform. Now, like I said, I could make it where I make certain content for just people who support me. But I like, and I'm sure you brothers and sisters would agree, I like to just share the information with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But if more of you become patrons and you would like some exclusive content for yourselves, I can do that. I can perhaps, offer like special content for patrons, offering certain refutations or something that only would be available to people who become patrons of my content. But I just keep it up as a way for people to, just support the platform and support my work, and we'll still make the information available to everyone to see it. All right. He was a European Jew. He spoke German, English, Arabic, Persian fluently. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me get some water. And that's what you need. You know what I mean? That's what you need. So no wonder his translation is pretty good, because he had a grasp of all those languages, and that's what's important. Because if not, then you'll be doing translations like that, like backbone in the ribs, and it's like, that ain't, that it doesn't convey the proper meaning to an English speaker. Right? It doesn't convey that message properly to an English speaker. So an English speaker is going to read backbone and ribs, and that's why they come away claiming that the Quran made some kind of scientific error, when in actuality the Arabic shows that there's no mistake there. So Muhammad Assad did a good job in translating it and letting people know that it's actually referring to the parts of the man and the parts of the woman, and then the Arabic actually says that as well. Right? Do I know? But yeah, Christian Prince. Yeah, I've spoken about him before. I used to run into him sometimes on Pal Talk, but I don't see him anymore. All right. Wa alaikum salam, brother Yusuf. You have a good night. But for Muhammad Zakaria, yeah, I used to run into Christian Prince a lot on Pal. Matter of fact, if you go on my channel, if you go back to my older videos, I actually issued a response to a challenge that he made. He had made a challenge some years ago that he wanted to debate a Muslim or whatever on his show. So I took up the challenge. I made a video saying that I accepted his challenge, but I had some prerequisites that I wanted to be on his show live, and there's a reason for that. I said I take your challenge, but I want to be live. I don't want to be like, calling in or something like that, because what I saw from the way he does his Pal Talk show is that he if you're refuting him or something, he'll dot you. So if I do it, I want to be in the studio with you, or it's going to be live, live on stage or something like that. I'm not calling in. I want, if it's going to be a debate or whatever, I need to be doing it live. So that way there's no funny trick. You can't cut me off. You can't cut my mic off. You can't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can't do stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm familiar with him. Saad also had some awesome commentaries. Wood claims that there are countless scientific errors in the Quran, like 8, 6, 7. Well, that's the one we're talking about right now. We're dealing with the chapter 86, verse 7 right now claim. So we refuted that. It's not a scientific error. We're dealing with that right now. It's not a scientific error. We've proven that. We've shown that already. So there's the notes once again from this discussion. There's my notes on that subject. Yeah, it's not a scientific error at all. Right? Look on the screen. We have everything that refutes that. It's not a scientific error at all. Even the Tafsir, Jalalayn Tafsir, Ibn Kathir Tafsir, they show that it's not a scientific error, because the parts that are mentioned are referring to the parts of the man's body and the woman's body, the Sulb and the Taraib. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a scientific error. And the thing about the muddy spring, maybe we can do a separate video about that one. But even the thing about the muddy spring, this has been explained. That's another old claim as well. The Quran is not saying that the sun sets literally in a muddy spring. The Quran, that particular incident, is talking about the story of Dhul-Qarnayn and his travels, and it's talking about in his travels how it describes the scene that he sees when he reaches the edge of he's traveling really far till he sees the sun setting. So it's not saying, the Quran is not making a scientific statement in that verse. It's not saying that the sun sets in a muddy spring, some muddy spring somewhere. It's just the descriptive language that's being used for Dhul-Qarnayn's story. Just like if you tell a story and say, the brother Muhammad, he traveled all the way to California and he reached it at the time that the sun is setting on the Pacific Ocean. Right? That's the descriptive language of the scene that Muhammad sees, and the story is being told like that. The Quran, it wasn't making a scientific statement in that verse. It was talking about Dhul-Qarnayn's traveling so far till he came to when he reached so far to the river, to the sea, that the sun is setting. Right? So that's what it says. It's not making a scientific statement. So, of course, most people who read that, they would see that. But if you're dishonest and you're looking to make some kind of attack, then yeah, you'll claim and say, oh, see, he's making a scientific error. But there are verses like that in the Bible as well. So when a Christian brings that up, I remind them that there are verses like that in their Bible as well. For example, in the Bible, there's a verse that mentions that you see the sun setting in the land of Canaan. So does that mean that there's a hole somewhere in the land of Canaan and the sun sets into the ground? Or is that the descriptive language of the story? You see what I'm saying? So and the reason why I point this out as a Christian, because I'm like, either you're going to be able to see it as a descriptive story, or then you're going to have to be, or you're going to be a hypocrite, because you're going to have to admit that your Bible must be scientifically wrong, because it says that the sun sets in the land of Canaan. So does that mean there's a hole somewhere in the land of Canaan and the sun goes into this giant hole in the ground? You know what I mean? How can I look at it? Can I look at it as a scientific error? Or can I look at that as the descriptive language? I mean, we talk like that today, right? We still talk like that today. We still talk about what time the sun sets, even though we know that literally the sun does not set, right? But from our descriptive view on earth, that's how we talk. So yeah, sun sets at, 6 p.m. whatever time, right? That's the description that we use. Say, yeah, I was out, looking out on the ocean yesterday evening, and it was a beautiful sunset into the ocean. Right? We know the sun doesn't literally set in the ocean, but that's the descriptive language that we use. And that's all the Quran was doing. It wasn't making a scientific statement. And that's clear. You know what I mean? And Muslims throughout history have not believed that. That hasn't been a Muslim thing. Muslims throughout history have not taught that the sun sets somewhere in a muddy pond somewhere, right? Muslims have that hasn't been the claim of Muslims throughout the centuries. No matter where Muslims are in this earth, whether they're Muslims in China, here, throughout Africa, Middle East, whatever, Turkey, Asia Minor, that hasn't been the claim of Muslims, right? Muslims haven't had a history of claiming that the sun sets somewhere in some kind of muddy pond. So that's just their dishonesty. He goes live nearly every day debating Muslims on Skype. Oh, so he's still around. Yeah, I don't see him anymore on Pal Talk. He doesn't come on Pal Talk anymore, apparently. Or at least or if he does, he comes on at a time that I don't see him. Where were you before you came to Islam? Yes, I was a Christian. Shadid Zakir claims that 86.6 that in embryonic stage the male and female gonads originate from a place which right. Even after they descend, they still receive their blood supply from that place. So I think what he's saying is that the organs are in that area, right? The reproductive organs are in between those areas, right? Not that it's literally coming from the backbone, you know what I mean? So that's what Zakir Naik is saying, that the organs, our organs are in between these areas, right? You got all those organs that are, in between your backbone and your ribs and your pelvic area and all those organs, they're all in that, right? So he's not saying that it's coming from the actual bones, the bone marrow or the bone structure, but in between those areas is where the organs, the sexual organs are at. So I understand that's what he's saying there. I'm surprised you don't believe in following so many of your videos, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you, Chamel Awari. Did I say that right? Thank you for that. Yeah, inshallah. We try to stay active. To get the platform going. So we keep trying, inshallah. What's this? Could you tell me where on Pal Talk you speak? Let me see. Can I type it in the room? Usually, when I'm on Pal Talk, I go to this one room. Is called Muslim Christian Dialogue, right? It's called Muslim Christian Dialogue. That's one of the rooms that I'm usually in, Muslim Christian Dialogue. All right. Now there's a couple of other ones that you might find me in, but he changes the title. The title gets changed around. But usually I'll be in that one of those two rooms, Muslim Christian Dialogue. or just look for whatever room is the room that's run by Muslims. The room that's run by Muslims is the one that I would usually. Those are the ones that I'm usually in. All right. So, but this is true. Muslim can deny their Muslim if their life is in danger. Yes, that is true. Shamel. Okay, Shamel. So I'm stuck with that. All right. Yeah, Ramon Salam. That is true. Yes, if your life is in danger, you can do that. It's if your life is in immediate danger. In other words, if like say some people go on a rampage, or say you're in a country where they just say, you know what, any Muslims, you got until sundown to get out of here. If not, we'll kill you, or you got to renounce Islam. So the government says they about to kill everybody who's Muslim, and so they start searching you out. And let's say they find you. You don't have a chance to escape, and they find you, and they'll say, look, what are you a Muslim? I'll kill you if you say you are, and you say no, I'm not. You can do that to save your life, right? And Allah won't hold it against you as long as that's the reason you're doing it. Now, if you're doing it, if that's what the verse says. That long as in your heart you still have faith. So, and that's one of the great things that I love about Islam, is that Allah clearly has what we would call in common sense. Common sense, right? That now you don't have to do that. Now, of course, if you want to go out and stand your ground, be like, nope, I am a Muslim. Do what you're going to do to me. You can do that as well. But in other words, Allah is merciful. Allah, in His mercy, He won't hold that against you if your life was in immediate danger and people are persecuting Muslims and they're murdering Muslims on sight, and you say, I'm not a Muslim in order to stay alive. Allah's merciful. He won't hold that against you. So yeah, you're allowed to do that. And a lot of people don't know, but this same concept is found in the Bible as well, in Christianity and in Judaism. If you go to my video, matter of fact, that's one of the things, if you go to my my video that I have, it's on YouTube as well, which is called Taqiyya, the lie they made against Islam. I go through all the details about that in that video. You can either get it on DVD or you can watch it on YouTube. I put it on YouTube for everybody to get, but if you want, you can also have it buy the DVD. But I talk about that extensively in that subject. Yeah, so it's on my channel. Just look on my YouTube channel. Just go search back through my videos, and you'll see Taqiyya, the lie they made against Islam. And I talk about that, and I show that in Judaism and Christianity they have that as well, where you're allowed to deny your faith or whatever, or deny anything in order to stay alive or keep somebody else alive. And I give the examples from the Bible that show where that happened, where somebody had to lie and say that, say something in order to keep somebody alive. So, you know what I'm saying? I learned how to read Arabic last year, then I memorized the Arabic Surah 78 all the way to 114. That's good. That's good. Surah 30, 39. Very well. Very good. Very good. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. So. The Quran was revealed in 7 or 10 different harus or qira'at. Yeah, and they all go back together. Yeah, that's another old argument as well that they like to bring up. Didn't Paul also say to a Jew, I am a Jew? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have that where Paul says that to the Jew he acts like a Jew, to the Gentile he acts like the Gentile. He says to those without the law he acts like he's without the law, although he is with the law. So, But but what Paul is talking about to me is a little bit different though. We're not talking about that. Islam, you can't do that in Islam. The situation that the brother asked me was about if your life is in danger. So that's different. Your life is in danger and you saying that I'm not Muslim because they're killing Muslims on sight is different from what Paul is talking. Paul basically sounds like he's talking about deception, because he's saying he does that so he can try to catch people into what he's talking about. Islam doesn't allow that. In Islam, you can't do that. You can't deny Islam or whatever to try to get people to become Muslim. That's not allowed in Islam. So that's completely something different. What Paul is talking about, yeah, that sounds like some deception there. Because he says, I act like the Jew to catch the Jew. I act like a Gentile to catch the Gentile. And to those who are without the law, he says, I act like I'm without the law to catch those who are without the law. He says, I do all this to bring people to the gospel. So that's using deception right there, to try to get people to come to your religion or what you talk about. But in Islam, that's not what Islam allows. Although the haters have claimed that that's what taqiyya is, but no, that is not what taqiyya is. Taqiyya has nothing to do with spreading Islam. In Islam, when you spread Islam, you have to be honest. You have to be honest, and you can't lie and deceive and trick people about Islam. So that's not what Islam allows. Islam does not allow that. Can I call you a brother even if I am not a Muslim? A brother in humanity, sure, right? You're still a brother in humanity. We're all children of Adam, they say, right? Even in Quran, it shows that we are the children of Adam. So you can be my brother in humanity. We may not be brothers by faith, right? But in humanity, we are, right? We're from the same family, the same human family. Exactly, Shamel. Yes, Allah indeed is all wise, all loving, all merciful. Yes, that is correct. How you say Mahbub Noor? Yes, that the early times, the vowels were made later for as Islam started to spread and as the Arabic language started to spread, so people could understand it. The native Arabs didn't need the marks, right? The native Arabs, they didn't need the vowel marks because they knew their language. The vowel marks were made later for people who weren't native Arabic speakers, so they could pronounce these letters correctly. But of course, in the early days when the Quran is being written, those things weren't there. And by the way, did you know that Arabic grammar actually was developed after the revelation of the Quran? Right? Arabic grammar was developed after the Quran. Before that, the Arabs did not have the organized Arabic language. Arabic grammar, the rules of grammar and all that was developed after the revelation of the Quran. All right. So, anything else? Any other comments? Anybody else have to say? We'll get ready to finish up with that and sign off. But yeah, like I said, when I'm on Pal Talk, matter of fact, I might, I don't know, I might get on Pal Talk for a little bit after this. So if you go to Pal Talk, look for Christian Muslim Dialogue, or just look for any other Muslim room that's a Muslim room run by Muslims, and I'll probably be in there. But if that's it, I want to thank you all for. I think tonight was one of the biggest viewing we had. Right, this is one of the biggest viewings we have. Do you have any upcoming debates that we should be aware of? Well, I don't know if you missed the beginning of the show. As I was mentioning, the reason why I did this subject that we're talking about today is because of Matt Slick. He is a Christian evangelist who I've debated before, and he was on Pal Talk the other day, and he came into the room and he started attacking with this subject that I refuted him before, and I had to remind him that I had refuted him before on this subject about the claim that sperm or semen comes from the ribs and backbone of a man. So when he came in and I reminded of him that, he started to get a little bit egotistical and said, "Oh, I'll debate you. I want to debate you." So I'm like, "All right, well, debate me, whatever you want to debate." So he wants to debate me now, so that might be an upcoming debate. Nothing has been set yet. I responded to his email earlier this evening, so inshallah, that could be a debate that will be coming up soon. I don't know when. I haven't got any details yet. Right now, we just have the challenge, and I want everybody. He challenged me, like I always say. They always challenge me. I don't go looking for debates. Every debate that I've had, it has been the other side that has called me to debate. I want everybody to be clear. I don't go looking to debate people. Every debate that I see is that these people, they call me. So he wants to challenge me to a debate, and I'm willing to do that. So I'll keep you guys posted if it gets set and we actually go through with it. So we'll see. I'll wait for his response, because he sent me the email. I responded, so now I'll wait to see what his response is, and we'll go from there. So yeah, if anything, that may be the next debate and coming up. It probably won't be until next year though, because I mean we're already at the end of the year, so it probably will be some time next year. So we'll see. We shall see, inshallah. We shall see. What's this? And the Quran was considered amazing by the Arabs. Well, that's what I'm saying, Mahbub. That the Arabic grammar was developed after the Quran, so that's why they can't claim that the Quran has any grammatical errors, because the grammar was made up after. You know what I mean? There was no set Arabic grammar when the Quran was revealed. Arabic grammar was made up after the Quran, because that's a claim that I've seen too, that people try to say the Quran has grammatical errors, and I'm like, how could it? The Quran was there before Arabs developed their grammar. The Arabic grammar was actually developed after the Quran. That's when the Arabs started thinking about developing a grammar for their language. It was after the Quran. So you can't claim that the Quran has grammatical errors when the Quran existed before the grammar. The grammar rules were made up after the Quran. All right? So don't let them pull that one on you either. Don't let them pull that one on you either. All right? All right, so like I said, one more time before we end it, if you would like to support the show, you can go to our Patreon and become a patron. Right now, as you see, we only have one. We only got one patron right now. And again, may Allah reward that brother who's the patron. So if you would like to become a patron and increase that number, by all means, please become a patron. That allows you to make like I said, it allows you to make a monthly pledge to our platform to support the work that we do through a pledge system, and it'll just, it'll be made once a month. So if you want to do that, please, let's get the number of patrons that I have up to. Can I get at least 5, inshallah? Can I get at least 5 patrons tonight, right? Or at least 4. I got 1 already. That brother's been a patron for several months already. So if we can get 4 more tonight, so we can take that number to 5 patrons, then inshallah that would be great. That would be great. All right. If not, if you're not ready to commit to a monthly pledge, then you could always buy the book. You got the PayPal donations in the link. So if you want to just make a one-time donation or a random donation whenever you feel like it, you can go to to our PayPal link and make a donation through the PayPal. You got options, inshallah. All right, but I greatly appreciate it. I thank the brothers and sisters for tuning in tonight. Like I said, we're going to try to be more consistent with the shows if we can. What's this, Shadi? Wood and his channel has lost its energy and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much he lost, but I know the last thing they did was him and Vocab and all of them. They did like this kind of series where they were mocking Islam. They were making like little mocking, childish, little immature skits. Matter of fact, somebody asked me about that too. Who asked me about that? Somebody about Vocab. Who said that? Somebody asked me. Let me scroll back up. Who was it? Somebody asked me about Vocab. The brother Yusuf, he left already, right? He said, "What do I think of Vocab Malone?" Yeah. Well, I mean, him and David Wood, I put them all in the same category because they, they made those videos, that series. Even what's his name? Even James White admonished them for that. It was very childish. It was very immature. It was very insulting and offensive. And I'm like, these guys are supposed to be grown men acting like silly high school kids. Right? That's something that immature high school boys would do, right? You want to make mockery of another group of people or a religion or something. That's on the level of something that a high school kid would do or high school kids would do. But these guys are grown men. David Wood is a grown-ass man. Vocab Malone, grown-ass man, making some mocking video. If they would have did that about Judaism, they would have been called anti-Semitic, right? If they would have did that about Judaism, they would have been called anti-Semitic bigots. But because it's about Islam, it was acceptable and people loved it. Bunch of haters and a bunch of bigots, they all loved it. If they would have did that about any other group, if they would have did that about black people, they would have been considered racist. Right? They would have been considered racist bigots. But it was Islam, so Islam is the new whipping boy, I guess. But as a Muslim, yeah, it was very offensive, it was immature, and they don't get no respect from me. They don't get no respect. I wasn't not like I had respect for them anyway. But you definitely don't get no respect now after that. That was the straw right there. That was the last straw right there. You get no respect now. You know what I mean? They get no respect now. Right, exactly. They wouldn't mind. Oh, brother Nadir Ahmed, man, I ain't seen you in years, bro. How you been, bro? Wait, what you been up to? What you been up to, man? It's been a long time, bro. If that's the real Nadir Ahmed, right? I'm sure it is, right? Yeah, yeah. You're right, bro. That's what they do. You know what I mean? That's what they do. It's very shameful, man. I could never see myself doing something like that. Especially, I mean, I'm a grown man, and I'm trying to be a professional debater. All right? I'm not trying to. I don't want people to look at me like I'm some childish kid making insulting, mocking videos. No, I'm trying to come at you like a professional, like a man, a professional man who's a debater, not making some childish videos. You know what I'm saying? So that was very weak on their part. That was very well. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you back on the scene. Good to see you back on the scene. Good to see you back on the scene. Yeah. You know, yeah. Not Mahmoud. You said David Woods' BF is Sam Shimon. Old Cat Malone, actor friendly lady. So, oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about it, right? Yeah, you know, when I did meet him, yeah, when I met him, yeah, he was friendly when I met him. When I met him, he was friendly, you know, but then, you know, you go and then you make these videos. I'm like, bro, man, that's offensive, man. It's really insulting. But like I say, even James White said that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Even James White was like, no, that's wrong, you know. But you could see what type of crowd they attracted, because I would watch the comments. Like, I went to the video and I watched the comments. And of course, it was a bunch of bigots, bunch of white racist bigots. That's what I saw, you know, a bunch of white racist bigots. So because like I always say, the two go hand in hand, right? This anti-Islamic bigotry is just a subset of white racism and white bigotry. That's all. It's a subset. It's part of that same whole agenda. You know what I'm saying? It's it's part of that whole agenda. So when you look at who's supporting the video, and who likes it, who's thumbing it up, and who's commenting and say that, yeah, this is great, they did a good job, that's who you see in the comment, a bunch of white racist bigots. And shame on that other dude they had with him. They had a third guy. He looked like he might have been African American. Shame on him for joining in with these suckers. But, you know, there's always some Sambo-ass fool who's willing to go along with his two white buddies while they mock other people of color. You know what I mean? There's always that type. I've seen people like that when I grew up, too, in school. Where you have some dummy who's black, but he hangs out with white guys, and when they make jokes and stuff, instead of him taking a stand and standing up against it, he wants to fit in, so he goes along acting like he's one of them, forgetting that you're stupid, you're dummy, you're a man of color yourself. So what are you doing joining in with these two white bigots making fun of people of color? You know what I mean? So that's who that other, I don't even know what his name is, but that's who that dude reminds me. He reminds me of those type of people, the little dummies who lack any proper self-esteem, and they want to fit in with their white buddies, so they go along with the mocking of other black people, even though they're black themselves, or they go along with the mocking of other people of color, instead of taking a stand and be like, hey, dudes, this is wrong. No, they want to fit in, and you know, it's pitiful, it's sorry. Pitiful and sorry, man. Pitiful and sorry. Inshallah, Dale Lee, I appreciate it. Whenever you can, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you can. But yeah, like I said, I would like to increase my patrons, man. So if you guys, anybody can join tonight, right? If anybody can join tonight, if I can get at least 4 more patrons, as you see on the screen. If you go to that website, it's in the description of this video, the one that says Patreon. Click on there, become a patron. If I can get 4 patrons tonight, inshallah. It's up to you how much you want to donate, you know, monthly. It's up to you. But if I can get 4 more, inshallah, we greatly appreciate that. If not, like I said, just go to the PayPal or, you know, the book, the website. Inshallah, anyone is good. All right, so go ahead, brothers and sisters. With that, I'm going to sign off. Like I said, I'm going to leave the notes. You see the notes on the screen right there. I will post some of the references in the description of the video under all the donations and stuff like that. So if you want to use those references for your own personal arguments, you can. All right. Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah, I've seen. Is the same? Yeah, King Kareem. Yeah, it's the yeah. I had changed the title. Because they say sometimes if you change the title, you get more sales. So I tried to change the title to see if that would attract more attention and inshallah increase the sales. But yeah, it's the same book, Clearing Jesus of Blasphemy. It's the same book. I just changed the title. Matter of fact, if you get the paperback still has that title because they wouldn't allow me to change it. So the paperback still has the Clearing Jesus of Blasphemy title. If you get the ebook, then the ebook has the new title, which is He Never Was God. So, but yeah, just so there's no confusion, yes, it is the same book. All right, it's the same book. The information inside is the same. It's just that I had changed the title on the electronic version to see if I can, get a little bit more attention for it. All right, but yeah, as I said, on tonight's subject, does the Quran actually say semen comes from the man's backbone and the ribs? Truth exposed. The answer is no, without a doubt. And the information is clear that it does not say that. The Arabic words are detailed. As you see on the notes on the screen, I give all the sources, both language sources, Arabic to English, dictionaries, lexicons, Muslim scholars. The information is all there that shows that the Quran does not say that semen is coming from between the man's ribs and backbones. All right. So as I said, I'll share the sources in the description of the video. And you can use those for your own personal discussions as well. All right. Do you like Yusuf Ali Pickthall? They're okay. You know what I'm saying? They're okay. But like I said, the newer translations that seem to can express the English better, those are better to me. Like Muhammad Assad. I like Muhammad Assad's translation because it is dealing with modern English. It's dealing with how we talk today. Yusuf Ali, they were like in the old English, the he, thee, thou. I mean, it still conveys the message decent enough. But with today, if you want to get a version, not a version. Let's correct that. If you want to get a translation that is in how we talk English today, then I would recommend the Muhammad Assad translation. That is like in how we speak today, and it conveys the messages. It gets the message across in the way people speak English today. Very good, very clear. So yeah, I would recommend that one, Muhammad Assad. The Quran does not say. That's the video name. From who that? That's from Kinu. Okay, good job. Many Westerners don't know that Allah means God. Yeah. Many Westerners still, unfortunately, they still don't know that. That's surprising that they still don't know that, because again, these are all subjects that we've been speaking about for years, and not just. And when I say we, I don't mean just me myself, but many Muslims have been speaking this for years. About that. So, but you got to do the research. But does he? I don't know. I have Muhammad Assad, and in a lot of it, he seems like he uses the good English, the modern English. Yeah, everybody keeps asking me that, man. Yeah, I seen the video. It was a good debate. The brother Muhammad did a good job. I don't know, Mahbub, that Muhammad Assad does that. I don't know. At least the translation that I have, he seems like he's using more modern, he's using like more modern English. You know what I mean? He's speaking in more modern English. So. All right. I mean, technically, okay, you could say that, Mahbub. Technically, you could say that, but really no, right? Because really, in English, in Arabic, the word for God is illah. Actually, Allah is actually the personal and proper name of God in Islam. right? So really, Allah does not translate into God, the English word God. The English word God is a generic word for any supreme being. You understand this? The English word God is a generic word that can be used for any God. Allah can't be used for any God like the English word God. So technically, if you want to make a simplistic description to somebody, you could just say, well, Allah is God in Arabic. Okay, simplistically. But really, no, it's not. Right? No, it's not really. Allah is God's personal and proper name in Islam. So in other words, you can't, like in English, you could say the Hindu God, the Native American God, the African God, the Chinese God, the white God, the Alaskan God, right? You see what I'm saying? But with Allah, you can't say that. You can't say the Hindu Allah. You can't say the African Allah. You can't say the Native American Allah, the Chinese Allah. You can't say that because Allah doesn't mean God like that in the generic sense. If you want to say that, you got to use illah, the African illah, the white illah, the Native American illah, the Chinese illah. That is the word that means God generically. But Allah does not. So really, you can't say that Allah means God. Like that. Meaning, you know what I'm saying? Like Allah doesn't mean any God like that. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Allah is not the word for generically God. Allah is the personal and proper name of God that we use in Islam to refer to God. Right. Illah means God. Exactly. So illah is the equivalent of the English word God. Illah is actually the equivalent of that. Allah is the personal and proper name of the supreme being. You see? So like I said, I understand what you're saying. In simplistic terms, for somebody who may not have an understanding, you can just say, well, you can just say Allah means God in the simplistic terms. But if you really want to get in detail, you would say, well, no, that's illah. If you want to say God's name, we say Allah. No, not yet. I still haven't purchased the hard drive. Inshallah, I should be able to do so. Maybe by the end, before this month is over, if the money's right. If my finances are right, once I pay all the bills and everything. Once I get all the bills and all the important stuff paid for, then I'll see if I have any extra to purchase me the right hard drive. And again, it has to match. It has to match the broken one that I have. So I got to look for it, make sure. Because I bought that years ago, so hopefully I can find it. And I got to get the exact model. It has to be the exact model, match, like that. So, but hopefully before this month is over, once all the bills are paid, I can take care of that, inshallah. And we can finish up that misquoting the Quran project. All right. But so again, like I said, the notes are right there on the screen. I will put the references in the description of the video for those of you who want to use that. All right. And I'll sign up one more time before I go. Become a patron, inshallah. All right. Become a patron, support your brother, and become a patron of our platform. All right. Right there on the screen. Become a patron if you can, inshallah. All right. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. All right. Like I said, I might stop on Pal Talk for a little bit after this. So if you want to check out, check it out. Yes, Mahbub, right. So that's explained that whatever Allah says that he has, it's not comparable to that of any other creature. So hand, face, etc. But that doesn't mean his hand is like our hand, or the hand of a man, or the hand of whatever other creatures are out there. You see? So that's how they explain that however Allah is how Allah is, and it's not comparable to any other created creature. Okay. But yeah, let me get out of here. I keep saying I'm gonna leave it. I keep staying out there. All right. Does Pal Talk work on it? Yeah, you can get it. You can get it online. There's a phone app for Pal Talk, so you can go online with that through your phone. It also has a phone version, a mobile version of it as well, and you can use it just the same way. You can talk You know what I mean? Like if you want to chat, you can actually talk through your phone's microphone and all that. So that works. Yeah, it's well, you know, not, it doesn't even have to be metaphorical. Like I said, if Allah says he has a hands, face, or whatever, that still doesn't mean that he's a man, right? That still doesn't mean that he's a man. His characteristics are unique to him alone. You know what I mean? Like I explain like this: I have legs. A table has legs too. A lion has legs, but is a lion leg, just because we say a lion has legs, does that mean his leg is like my leg? No. Right? His leg is not like my leg. My leg is not like the leg of a table, right? A lion's leg is not like a man's leg. A monkey's leg is not like our leg. All other animals have legs too, right? But that doesn't mean their legs are like ours. A monkey has arms. Is the monkey's arms like my arms or your arms? No, right? The arms of a clock. A clock has arms too. But are the arms of a clock like the arms of a man? No. So you see? So just because Allah may say he has a hand or this or whatever, how somebody says he's a man or you know is like a man like us, that's, you know, that doesn't follow logically. Especially when Allah says he's not like his creation. So that destroys that right there. That destroys that right there. Okay, but yeah, those arguments, those are like simpleton arguments. Those are weak. Those are simpleton type arguments. You know what I mean? So don't fall for simple-minded arguments like that. Okay. All right, let me get out of here, brothers and sisters. Let me say this before I leave. If anybody has donated before the show was over, let me thank you ahead of time. I can't see when people donate. So if you have donated or if you have joined the Patreon before this show was over, let me go ahead and thank you ahead of time. May Allah reward you and let you know that I appreciate your donations, your help, or whatever you do to contribute to the platform. All right, so let me say that ahead of time if anybody has donated. And if you do donate at a later time, let me thank you ahead of time as well. All right, you brothers and sisters have a good night. Like I said, I'm going to stop on Pal Talk for a little bit, so you might want to come through and check it out. If anything is going on, sometimes Pal Talk is kind of dead and there's no discussions going on. So I'm going to check it out and see if there's any good discussions going on. So you might see me on there. If not, if you see that the rooms are quiet, then that means nothing's going on tonight, and I'll just pass it by. But again, like I said, if you have joined the Patreon before the show's over, I want to thank you now. And for those who watch this video at a later time and you make a contribution, let me thank you now as well and say, may Allah reward you. All right, you brothers and sisters have a good night. Assalamu alaikum.